Hello everyone, how are you? Today we will start with a new lesson which is called water. First, let's start. What is the importance of water? Water is used in agriculture, industry, and personal field. So now what is the structure of water? Water is H2O. Its chemical formula is H2O. Consists of one atom of oxygen and two atoms of hydrogen, and the angle between them equal 104.5 degree. There is two single covalent bond in water molecules, and there are hydrogen bond between water molecules. So what's the meaning of hydrogen bond? Hydrogen bond, it's a weak electrostatic attraction force that arises between the molecules of polar compounds. Last time we talked that water is a polar compound. So between the bonds of polar compounds we have hydrogen bond. Hydrogen bond is weaker than covalent bond, and the hydrogen bond is responsible for what? For the abnormal properties of water. So now let's talk about the properties of water. We have two properties, physical and chemical. Physical properties, number one, water exists in three states. 2. Water is good polar solvent. 3. Pure water boils at 100 degrees Celsius and freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. And finally, water density decreases on freezing. While chemical properties of water, number one, water has neutral effect on litmus paper, and number two, water electrolyzes. Let's talk about all of them. First, let's start with physical property. We have number one, water exists in three states. What are they? Solid, liquid, and gas. Solid, example, ice. Liquid, water. Gases, like water vapor. Number two, water is a good polar solvent. We use it to dissolve a lot of materials. For example, if we put an amount of water in 3 glasses beaker, put a spoon of sugar in the first and a spoon of the second and a spoon in oil. The observation, both sugar and salt dissolve in water, while oil can't dissolve in water. So we can conclude that water is a good polar solvent for most of ionic compound like table salt, which is called sodium chloride. And water can also dissolve some of covalent compound like sugar, while some of covalent compound can't dissolve in water like oil because it can't form hydrogen bond with water. So we have two important questions. Give reason. Sugar and salt dissolve in water. The answer, because they can form hydrogen bond with water. Why? Give reason. Oil can't dissolve in water. The answer, because it can't form hydrogen bond with water. Number three, rising the water boiling point and the freezing point. We know that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius and freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. According to the position of oxygen in group 6A in model periodic table, it's supposed that the boiling point of water is less than 100 and the freezing point is less than 0. While pure water in normal pressure, it boils at 100 degrees Celsius and freezes at 0. Why? Due to the presence of hydrogen bond between molecules. We said that hydrogen bond is responsible for abnormal properties of water. Next. Chemical properties of water. We have two properties. First, water has neutral effect. Second, water electrolyzes. Number one, water has neutral effect on litmus paper. Why? Because when water ionizes, it gives equal numbers of positive hydrogen, which is responsible for the acidic property, and negative hydroxide ion, which is responsible for basic property. So the hydrogen equal hydroxide, so it is neutral. Number two, water electrolyzes by Hofmann voltameter. As you look that we bring a battery and anode, which is a positive pole, and cathode, which is a negative pole, and we put acidified water in it. What happened? The volume of evolved gas at cathode is double the volume of evolved gas at anode. Number 2, the evolved gas above anode makes the glowing splint more glowing. So we can conclude from that this gas is oxygen, while the evolved gas above cathode burn with blue flame and make pop sound, which is hydrogen. So we can conclude that the acidified water decomposed by electricity into oxygen dissolved at anode because oxygen ion is negatively charged, while hydrogen gas evolved at cathode because hydrogen ion is positively charged. So the ratio between hydrogen and oxygen is 2 to 1 by the volume because the water molecules is composed into 2 hydrogen atom and 1 oxygen atom. So the equation is more important. 2H2O electrolyzes produce 2H2 evolved and 2 oxygen evolved. Again, 2H2O electrolyzes produce 2H2 evolved and oxygen O2 evolved. Next. Now let's talk about water pollution. So what's the meaning of water pollution? It's the addition of any substance to water which causes continuous gradual change in water properties and that affect on the health and the life of living creatures. Living creatures like us, like animals, like plants. So that affects on all living organisms, on the health and the life. Let's complete. What are the pollutants of water? We can divide them into 2 groups, natural pollutant and artificial pollutant. Natural pollutant like volcanic eruption, death of living organisms, and lightning accompanying thunderstorms, while artificial pollutant they arises between different human activities. Let's complete. So what are the kinds of pollution? Biological pollution, chemical pollution, thermal pollution, and radiant pollution. Number 1, biological pollution is originated or caused by mixing animal and human wastes with water, and that causes bilharzia, typhoid, and hepatitis. Number 2, chemical pollution that is caused by discharging factories and sewage in seas, rivers, and canals, and that cause more bad things. First, if it contains more concentration of lead, that causes death of brain cell. If it has mercury concentration, that causes blindness. If it has arsenic, that causes liver cancer. Number 3, thermal pollution. That's caused by increasing the temperature of some water arises used in cooling the nuclear reactor, and that causes what? Death of marine creature. Why? Due to the separation of dissolved oxygen from water. Number 4, radiant pollution, which is caused by dumping atomic wastes in ocean and seas, and the leakage of radioactive materials that resulted from the nuclear reactor. That cause what? That cause cancer. That's it. All of them are called kinds of pollution of water. Now, how we protect water from pollution? Number 1, prevent get rid of sewage and wastes in factories and dead animals in rivers and canals. Number 2, developing the station of water purification and critical analysis to water. 3, disinfection of drinking water tank which are found on the roof of buildings periodically. Number 4, don't store the tap water in empty plastic water. Why? Because plastic react with chlorine gas that used as water disinfection and causing or leading to the increase of the infection of cancer. Number 5, spreading environmental awareness among people. Why? To protect them from pollution. So we can conclude from the previous that the nuclear reactor caused both thermal pollution and radiant pollution. Thank you very much and see you next time. Goodbye.